Let's see. Right. Okay. Hey everyone. I am signing on from home, and so you might see me approach the computer so that I can switch screens back and forth to look at some of the things that you have at home. So I'm really sorry about earlier today. There's something wrong with the program that I use on my computer at school, so I wasn't able to finish the tutorial that I had started earlier today. So I'm just gonna work through a few problems. I want you to remember that your notebook tonight has all of the steps that you need to solve. This just happens to be another notebook that has all the steps on it, the long division method. This one, it's on page 57, but earlier today I showed you one where it was around page 60. So just depending on where you were in your notebook, that's it's kind of around that range to find all of the steps for long division. If you need to see example problems, just remember there are a lot of them that we worked out in our book. Dividing numbers, using model drawing, all of that stuff. And then there are additional problems in the class practice that we did. So I'm just gonna go over maybe one or two problems from each of those in-class practices. Some of them you already have a grade on, so you'll see where you went wrong, which ones you did right. And the ones that you did today, I can go through all of those because I didn't get a chance to grade them because you took them home. So the first one, I had started working it out while I was still at school, and it was about Mr. Espino buying the notebooks for his students. And if you look at that one, it was in the in-class practice that had, I think, 6 problems. The one where you did with Mrs. Roseberry when I wasn't here that day. But it is about Mr. Espino and his notebooks. And this may fall, so I'm going to try to be really careful. Okay. All right, so I need to see something really quick. Okay, so there are a total of 44 students, and each student needs one notepad. So I know there are 44 students. Each student needs one notepad. And I know that the notebooks are sold in packages of 5. Okay, so what is the important note here? When we're reading this problem, if you read the question or read the situation, the important piece of information that you have to infer from here is that every student needs a notepad, okay? Oops. And if every student needs a notepad, then this number is more important than the number of packages that he, the number of, never mind. Let me just kind of restate as we work through this problem, okay? So the 44 students means he's going to have 44 notepads, okay? And it doesn't matter if he has more than that. It's just he wants to buy just enough packages so that he can give away one notepad to every student, okay? So let's look at this. The question is asking how many packages does Mr. Espino need to buy? And right off the bat, you should already know what kind of sentence frame you need to use to answer this question. Mr. Espino needs to buy blank packages. Okay? And that should be good enough. And there's a little bit of a glare here. Let me just kind of shimmy this down a little bit. All right. So, Mr. Espino needs to buy blank packages. He's got 44 students, 1 notepad each. So how many packages of those 5 notebooks does he need to buy? Okay, well, let's look at it in a picture sense. You know that every student needs a notepad. Let me just kind of get rid of some of this. Let me go grab a tissue so I can get rid of all that quickly. Okay, so let's see here. If I have 1 package of notepads, there's 5 notebooks in there. So that means I'm able to give 5 students a notepad. Okay, well, I've got 44 students. So I need to buy them until I take care of my entire class of 44 students. Okay, so I've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and I need to get 1 more to get the 44. And I know that this will give me actually 45, but they're only sold in packages of 5. So I need to go ahead and buy that package anyway, because if I don't, then I'll only have 40 notebooks and I won't have enough to give to all of the students. Okay? So I need to buy all of these packages to make it work. Well, let's look at the division. If I have 44 and 5 of them can go with 1 package, so I can divide by 5. 5 divided by 44, let's see here. Think of my facts of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, I can't go over because then that's too much. That's 8. Multiply, subtract. There's nothing to bring down. My remainder is 4. That means there are 4 students who haven't been taken care of yet with buying 8 packages. So in this case, you guys already know that we can't have 4 students without a notebook. So you've got to buy an additional package, this one right here. You have to buy an additional package to take care of those 4 kids. So that's why this situation falls under add 1 to the quotient. So if your quotient is 8, you need to add another 1 to take care of those 4 students. Add another package, and so you need to buy 9 packages of notepads to take care of all of the students, okay? And the checking back is very important. There were a lot of you that day who did not fill in your sentence frame, and so if you stop here, that's not good enough. even though your division is correct, you need to look at what your quotient and your remainder is and figure out what you need to do. Sorry, I don't know why my screen went black just now. Okay, so you need to make sure that you know what to do with this answer once you've found it. You need to read your sentence frame again, figure out what exactly was the question asking, and then you'll see again, okay, I need to take care of the 44 students. Okay, so that means the remainder is important, and I need to add 1 to the quotient. Your model drawing can look like this. If you wanted to, you could use tally marks, but that just, it just takes forever. Okay, it takes forever to draw all the tally marks. You can use numbers to kind of help you out, but of course, you can also use the block form, and I'll solve a problem with the block form of model drawing in just a minute. Okay, so all of this is appropriate model drawing. Tomorrow when you take the test, then just make sure you have some kind of visual representation to show the division taking place, okay? And that will support your division that you're doing. And it's going to help you see what are you supposed to do with the remainder once you're done, okay? So let me go ahead and move to another problem. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move to the class practice sheet that we did yesterday in class. The one about Candace making the wreaths. I believe that was number 2. Let me just double check. Okay, so yes, if you go to the remainder practice number 2, that is talking about Candace making the wreaths. So she's making some wreaths. She needs 3 bows for every wreath. And if she has 14 bows, how many wreaths can she make? Okay. She has 14 bows. Okay. 3 bows for every wreath. So the question here is asking, how many wreaths can she make? You have to be really careful when you're reading a problem. I showed you already an example of this same situation where I ask a different question and you do something completely different with your division answer, okay? So always make sure that you're reading very carefully and thinking about what the question is really asking. In this case, it's saying, how many wreaths can she make? You don't want your answer to say anything about bows when the question is asking about the wreaths. And you saw the difference today when we talked about it in class. If you need to see the other example, you can go in your notebook to where I show you the other example with the same scenario, just with a different question. The division work is exactly the same, but the piece of the quotient that you pick is going to be very different depending on what the question is asking, okay? In this case, I'm asking, how many wreaths is she going to make? Okay, so let me switch back here. that we can say as our sentence frame, Candace can make blank wreaths. So you're looking for the number of wreaths. We're looking for the number of wreaths that Candace can make, and she's only allowed to put 3 bows on every wreath. Okay? So her wreath is going to look like this. There's 1. She's got 3 bows on that wreath. Okay, I'm just going to use tally marks because it's faster. You guys know what I mean. Okay, we're not going to waste time drawing bows. We just need some kind of picture. If you don't like tally marks, just make a wreath and put the number 3 in there. Okay? So there's 1 wreath. 6. She's got 14 though. And she only has 14. She can't buy anymore. Maybe the store is closed. But the situation doesn't allow her to have any more bows than 14. So we can't go over the number 14. 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, that would be 15. Okay, so if I make 5 wreaths, I would need 15 bows. Does she have enough to make 5 wreaths? No, because she won't have enough. 3, 6, 9, 12. How many bows will she have left? She's got 2 left over. Okay, let's support it with the division now. Okay, if we take her 14 bows, divide it by 3. 3 goes into 14. How many times without going over? 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, that goes in 4 times. Subtract. There's nothing to bring down. There's our remainder of 2 that we found out earlier with our drawing. So now let's think about what this question is asking. If we reread the problem, it says, how many wreaths can Candace make? Our sentence frame matches the question, Candace can make blank wreaths. So what part of this quotient represents the number of wreaths, and what part is going to represent the bows that are left over? If you're not sure from the division, the picture should be able to tell you. What does the 4 represent? Well, there's a 3, there's a 2. Where's the 4? You've got 1 wreath, 2 wreaths, 3 wreaths, 4 wreaths. Okay? So that 4 represents the number of wreaths that she can make. Okay? So our answer is this piece right here, and we don't do anything with the remainder. In the last problem, we added 1 to take care of the remainder, but in this problem, we ignore the remainder altogether because we cannot do anything with those leftover pieces. And in this case, the leftover bows just don't get made into a wreath. They just either sit there, or they get thrown away, or they get put away for another project. So you really have to read the problem, think about those numbers in context to the problem, and make sure you're answering the question correctly. Okay, now I'm going to go over the problems from today where we talked about the remainder being the answer. Okay. Okay, let's look at those sausage roll problems in just a second here. Okay, so let's go to the remainder practice problems. The first one was about the cafeteria buying the sausage rolls. This one, the reading is extremely important because you have to understand what every single word and phrase means in context of the story. Okay, so the cafeteria bought 21 packages of 6 sausage rolls for the carnival. 21 packages of 6 sausage rolls for the carnival. They will put them in 5 equal-sized trays to sell. So how many sausage rolls will be left over after they divide them out into the trays? Okay, so the cafeteria is buying packages of sausage rolls, but they're going to take the sausage rolls themselves and put them into equal-sized trays. So what do we need to figure out before we put them on the trays? We need to figure out how many sausage rolls there are. Okay, so how are we going to figure out how many sausage rolls we're working with? Well, each package has 6. If each package has 6, and we know that the cafeteria bought 21 packages, what is that going to look like? If each package had 6, and we bought 21 of them, how are you going to figure out the total number of sausage rolls that the cafeteria bought for the carnival? You could draw a package of 6 21 times, count by 6 21 times, or you can just multiply. Okay, so we've got 21 times 6. That's 6, 12. You're dealing with 126 total sausage rolls, okay? The total here is 126. And then what are they doing with those 126 rolls? They're going to put them on the trays. How many trays are there? There are only 5. They can't make any more trays. They can't get them from anywhere else. They have 5 trays that they're going to put these sausage rolls on. But that's not really what the question is asking, is it? They've got to do that first. But the question is asking how many sausage rolls will be left over after they divide them out into the trays. So there's a lot of work going on up here before you get to the question even. So let's just kind of slow down a little bit, make a sentence frame that takes care of the question, so that way we know we need to keep working until we've answered the question. Okay? How many sausage rolls are left over? Blank. Rolls are. That's one way to write it. Blank sausage rolls are left over. So, how are we going to figure this out? We've got 126 of them. Okay? We've only got 5 trays. Now let's see. I'm going to leave a little bit for the leftovers since I know I'm going to have some. Okay? I've got tray 1, tray 2, tray 3, tray 4, tray 5. I've got 5 trays, and I want to put an equal number of sausage rolls on every tray. So how am I going to do that? Here's where our division comes in. Let's do 126. Divide that by 5. And here comes your long division process. If you're afraid of being stuck on the steps, write out your steps like this. Divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Okay? So, 5 is more than 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and regroup it back to the tens. How many times does 5 go into 12? 5, 10. It goes in 2 times. 5 times 2, that's your multiply step, is 10. Subtract. My next step is to bring down. I'm going to bring down this 6. Now, 5 into 26. How many times do you have to count by 5 to get as close to 26 without going over? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 30 is too much. Let's go back to 25. 25, that's 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Subtract. There's nothing left to bring down. So this 1 right here is my remainder. Okay? So now, what does the 25 mean? I know what my 5 means. I've got 5 trays. So what's the 25? If I take 126 and I put them into the 5 trays, the 25 means I've got 25 sausage rolls here, 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, and 25 here. Well, what does the 1 mean? That's the remainder. Where does it go in the model drawing? That's what you've got left over after you divide the rest of them evenly amongst the trays. And then we check back the sentence frame. Blank sausage rolls are left over. It's not asking how many went into the trays. It's asking how many are left over. This is my leftover. So is that. And so that number goes in the blank. 1. 1 sausage roll is left over. Okay? I'm not too worried about grammar. So just make sure it makes sense. Somewhat. So that one is a 2-step problem where reading is extremely important. So you've just got to remember to read everything and really think about it. Don't just pull numbers out of the problem and start dividing. That's what I saw some of you doing today. Read everything. Make the model drawing. That's why model drawing is so important. So that you can show you understand what's going on with this problem. If you don't do it, you're going to miss a lot of stuff. Okay? So in 4th grade, just want to say, in 4th grade, the problems are a lot more complicated. You can't get away with just pulling the numbers out of a problem and performing an operation. You have to be able to read and think about what's going on. Sometimes it's 1 operation, sometimes it's 2 operations, sometimes it's more. So be careful when you're reading these problems, because you know the answer choices are always there to trick the kids or find the kids that want to stop early, or find the kids that want to just pull the numbers out of a problem and perform an operation. Okay? So let's look at number 2. The school has 423 flowers to plant. If they plant 5 flowers in each pot, how many flowers will not get planted? So some of them are going to be able to go into a pot. Some of them won't be. Okay, they have to put 5 flowers in each pot. So what's my sentence frame? Blank flowers will not get planted. Okay, so I don't care about how many pots I need. I need to know how many flowers are not going to get planted. Okay, because I have to put 5 in a pot. So, if I have 423, and I know I have to put 5 in a pot, I don't know how many pots I need, but I know I'm going to have some kind of remainder, because that's what the question is asking. Okay, so what am I going to do? If I know that I need to have an equal number of flowers in each pot, but I don't know how many pots I have, it's a division problem. 423, divide that by 5. And that will give me how many pots I needed and some other information. 5 is more than 4, so I'm just going to regroup and go back to the tens. 5 goes into 42 how many times? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. That's 8. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract. 42 minus 40, 2. Bring down the 3. 5 goes into 23 how many times? 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, it goes in 4 times. This 4 is 20. Subtract, and I have 3. I don't have anything left to bring down, so my remainder is 3. Now I check back into my sentence frame. How many flowers will not get planted? If you don't reread your sentence frame, you might put this number in there. And I saw some of you do it today before I corrected you. So, reread it. Think about what this means, what that means. You know what the 5 is? That's 5 flowers in every pot. So, which of these is the number of flowers that will not get planted? It's 3. Okay. So let's move on to number 3. Talking about Gary. Gary is putting up fences for his dogs. How many dogs does he have? 6. Gary has 647 feet of fencing to build 6 dog pens. If the pens are all the same size, how many feet of fencing will he have left? Okay, sorry, I had a question online. I'll answer that in just a minute. Okay, so Gary has 640 feet of fencing to build 6 dog pens. Each of the dog pens is the same size, so how many fencing will he have left? So, our sentence frame, Gary will have blank feet left. Okay? So he's got a total of 647. He's making 6. He's making 6 dog pens, and he knows he's going to have a little bit left. So I'm going to go ahead and put that little bit left right there. That's my remainder. And I've got 6 dog pens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But how many feet does he need for each one? We don't know that yet. Okay, so we're going to figure it out eventually. So what do I have to do to know how much fencing does he need for each? Divide. So let's do 647. Divide that by how many dog pens? 6. Okay, 6 goes into 6 how many times? 1. 6 times 1 is 6. Subtract. 0. Bring down the 4. Does 6 go into 4 at all? No, 6 is more than 4, so we're going to put that 0 there because it doesn't go in. 6 times 0, 0. 4. Bring down the 7. Okay. How many times does 6 go into 47? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. Oop, 48's too much. Go back to 42. It's 7. 6 times 7 is 42. Subtract. Get 5. There's nothing left to bring down. 5 is my remainder. Okay? So 6 stands for the 6 dog pens. What's the 107? 107 goes here. And R, my remainder, is 5. Okay? So what am I looking at here? Gary will have blank feet left. What does it mean for how many feet he's got left? We're looking for the remainder, which is this right here. So Gary will have 5 feet left. Okay? Most of you did pretty good with this one. Actually, your long division is very good. So just keep going. You guys know how to divide. It's the analyzing the question that's going to be tricky for some of you. Reading and thinking. Okay, last one, and then I'll go back to, I'll get back to your question, Caleb. Okay, number 4, Miss Vo wants to buy cookies for her 22 students. Cookies are sold in packages of 5. If Miss Vo buys 4 packages, how many students will not get cookies? So, let's see here. What are we going to do? It kind of gives you a lot of information already to where you almost don't really need to use division at all because you can see most of the numbers in the relationship already. And it's a very small set of factors, so you're looking at a very basic fact. So, how many students will not get cookies? Blank students will not get cookies. Okay? How many students won't get cookies? I don't know. So we need, if I buy 5 packages, each package has, if I buy 4 packages, each package has 5 cookies. Okay? 4 packages. Each package has 5 cookies in it. How many students won't get any cookies? It's going to be, can you guess it? If 5 students can share this one, 5 students share this one, 5 students share this one, 5 students share this one, 5, 10, 15, 20 students. There's 2 left that are very sad because they didn't get cookies. Okay, so how do you show that with division? 22 students. How many packages did I buy? I bought 4. Okay, and so let's see here. 4 into 22, that's 5. That's where that 5 comes from. Packages of 5. 4 times 5 is 20. That's the number of cookies that there actually were. And there's 2 students left over that did not get any cookies. That's the answer to this right here. Most of you got this one right. Okay. Those of you that got confused with this question, you really needed to think back to the day where we actually had the packages of cookies and we were trying to figure out, what do we do when we don't have enough? Do we need to buy another package? Well, is it important that everyone gets a cookie? If it is, then yes, I need to buy another package. But that's not what the question is asking, is it? The question is asking how many students did not get any cookies? And that's 2. Okay. One of the students asked me a question about the hot dogs. So I'm going to go back to the hot dog question. That is number 1 from today, okay? He asked, why do we use 126? Okay? So I'm just going to kind of go back. We're going to read the problem again. Look at number 1. The cafeteria bought 21 packages of 6 sausage rolls. Let's break that down. Let's look at just that part. If the cafeteria bought 21 packages of 6 sausage rolls, they're going to take those sausage rolls and divide them up into the trays. Okay, they've got 5 trays. Okay, 5 trays. But they're not just going to throw the packages on there. They're throwing the sausage rolls evenly onto the trays. So what do we need to figure out first? If he bought 21 packages of 6 sausage rolls, each package has 6 rolls on it. But we didn't just buy one. We bought 21 packages. So you first need to figure out, how many sausage rolls are you working with here? What's your total number of sausage rolls? You won't know that until you multiply. 21 times 6 is 126. That's where this number comes from. This number matches this one. 126 total sausage rolls. And you're going to divide that number out into the 5 trays. This is the model drawing version. You can draw a picture if you want to, but you might not have enough space on your paper. You might want to use a separate sheet of paper, but that's a lot of sausage rolls that you're going to have to draw. It's 126 of them. So use numbers, and that's going to pare down the amount of drawing you have to do. Okay? So let me see if there are any other questions. Okay. If you still have any problems about problem number 1 from today, then just watch the playback again a little bit later once the video uploads, and you'll be able to see that explanation a few times over again, okay? So if you have any other questions about the problems that I've already worked out, then just rewatch the stream. For the rest of the tutorial, I just wanted to go over the test structure. I told you already today during class, it's going to be very simple. Very simple, meaning there's not going to be a lot of questions, okay? I told you today there's only going to be 4 questions. You're definitely going to have some long division. definitely going to have some UPS check model drawing situation. You're definitely going to have to interpret a remainder. Okay, what are you going to do with the remainder? And then I want to see if you can remember how to estimate quotients. How do you estimate the quotient? Do you remember? Estimating quotients. That was at the very beginning of our unit. When we were talking about compatible numbers. Okay. Compatible numbers help us to estimate quotients. You're not trying to find something exact, but you're trying to get as close to a basic fact as possible so that you can divide. Okay, remember, estimating is not always rounding. Sometimes estimating is just playing with the numbers a little bit so that you can divide in your head using your basic facts. And that doesn't require any long division whatsoever. So if you can do division using basic facts, then you don't need long division. This is only necessary, this strategy right here is only necessary when you're not left with one basic fact. You're going to have to divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Okay? 4 problems. Go over the problems that you already have. Double check your estimation skills, finding compatible numbers. Okay? I'll write that up here too. So just kind of refresh your memory a little bit. You guys should be okay. You're very good at dividing, okay? A lot better than what I've seen before. I can see that you have the steps in your mind, but if you get stuck, just write them down, okay? In your division problem, just write down the steps. And that's going to tell you what to do next. Okay, you guys are going to do great. I know the spelling bee is tomorrow too, so I don't want you to stress too much about this test. It's only 4 problems. You're already very good at it. So I just wanted you to review your notes a little bit and study a few of your spelling words, and you should be good to go. Okay? Get a lot of rest. Tomorrow's also the turkey trot. It's going to be a crazy day. Crazy. So I think you guys have exactly what you need. You've been working really hard in class. That's why I haven't assigned a lot of homework. But I've been watching you very closely, so I think you've got it. Okay? I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.